Hi, my name is Erin Soderberg Downing, and I am the author of the Daring Dreamers Club series with Disney. I'm going to read you the first chapter of the first book in the series, Daring Dreamers Club, Milla Takes Charge. Chapter 1, Prince Piggy. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a handsome prince. Milla Bannister Cook plunked down on the ground and watched as her pet pig, Chocolate Chip, trotted through the backyard. She chewed the cap of her pen and waited, hoping Chip would do something interesting so she could come up with the next line of her story. Luckily, it never took very long for Chip to spring into action. Milla had set up the yard so it looked like a miniature fairy tale world. Her old dollhouse was the castle, potted plants served as trees, and a family of dolls had been given the roles of humble servants. She had even placed a plastic crown on her pig's head, hoping a costume would help Chip get into character. But that morning, Milla's prince didn't feel like playing his part. It seemed the only thing the pig wanted to do was destroy his land. As Milla watched, Chocolate Chip, who'd gotten his name because Milla thought his brown and white spotted coloring looked like a chocolate chip cookie, began trampling shrubs and toppling flower pots. Then he overturned the castle and pushed his royal subjects into his empty food dish. Milla read aloud as she scribbled, "The prince in this fairy tale was a little different from most storybook heroes. He wasn't always graceful, he wasn't very clean, and he ate like a pig." Chip turned and grunted at Milla. She giggled, adding, "But he was very sweet, strong, and extremely lovable. You just had to get to know him first." Prince Chip's friends knew this great beast was very cuddly and always treated his family and friends like royalty. He also loved to share his beloved toys and blankets on cold nights, most of the time. Chip darted across the yard when he noticed Milla pulling a banana from behind her back. He wagged his tail, waiting for his snack. "Sit," Milla told him. Chip dropped his bottom to the ground and then quickly stood up again. Milla gave her pet a firm look and repeated the command. "Sit, Chip." But Chip was too excited about the banana to follow directions. He nuzzled Milla's shirt with his snout, spreading a muddy splotch across the front of her first day of school outfit. Milla laughed, even though she knew she wasn't supposed to do that when her pig was being naughty. It was important to be firm and show him who was boss, but sometimes it was very hard to hold her giggles in. Forcing herself to frown, Milla ordered the pig to sit. Again. Chip oinked. He butted his head up against Milla's leg. He sat, wriggled, and then let out a loud grunt. Milla could tell he was trying to prove how badly he wanted the treat. Finally, he settled his bottom on the ground and waited patiently. "Good boy." Milla kneeled and fed him half the banana. It was gone in seconds. Chip grunted again. "Don't beg," Milla scolded, handing him the other half. "It's not polite. If you must know, you really aren't acting much like a prince." In response, Chip climbed into Milla's lap and sat down. "Oof." The pig settled in for a cuddle, nosing Milla for more treats. "All right, Stinker," Milla said, pushing his snout away. "We'll take a break from our story. Maybe tomorrow I'll set up a cardboard city and let you be the monster that destroys it. Would you like that role better?" Milla flopped onto her back and gazed up at the wispy clouds drifting by overhead. Chip rested his heavy head on her stomach. "Once upon a time," she whispered, starting a new story, "there was an adventurous young girl. This brave explorer and her pet pig set off on a journey to the ends of the earth." "Ah, sunny." Chocolate Chip huffed a sigh. Yeah, I know there are no ends of the earth," Milla muttered. "This is just make-believe. It's not like I'm about to set off on an adventure to some far-off place anyway. Let's pretend, okay?" She continued her story. Milla, the mighty explorer, and her noble pet were on a quest. They wanted to hike the tallest mountains, dog sled to the North Pole, whitewater raft in the wildest rivers, and explore crumbling old castles in distant lands. Milla loved reading and writing about anything, but there was nothing she enjoyed more than creating adventures for herself. In Milla's stories, she was always a brave hero without fears or worries of any kind. One of the things Milla most loved about writing was that she was totally in charge and got to make all the decisions about what would happen on her adventures. The only limitation was her imagination, and her imagination was vast. Milla was the greatest explorer who had ever lived. Nothing could stop her. "Hon!" Milla's mom, Erica, poked her head out the back door and called, "We need to leave in 5 minutes or you're going to be late for your first day of 5th grade. Chocolate Chip leaped up and raced toward the house. He usually got a treat when he came inside from the backyard. "I'm coming," Milla said. She brushed at her shirt, trying to wipe away some of the pig slobber and mud. Too late. It was caked on, but Milla didn't mind. She made her way toward the house, whispering, "Nothing could stop this fearless explorer," except for the fact that she was still just a kid, and she never went anywhere other than school and her own backyard. "But someday!" Milla swung her lunch up and off the kitchen counter, swiped her backpack off its hook, and headed for the front door. Someday, soon, Milla, the brave, bold, capable explorer, would set off on her own and conquer the world. "You'll have to conquer the world next week," Milla's other mom, Eleanor, whom Milla called Mum, said in her lilting British accent. "This week's adventure is 5th grade, and school waits for no one." She pointed to a pile of folded clothes on the arm of the couch. "Get dressed, love." Milla glanced down at the dirty shirt and jeans she was wearing. "I'm already dressed." She tugged at her dark ponytail, tucked a loose curl behind one ear, and smiled. Milla's parents stood side by side. Her mom folded her light, freckled arms across her chest, while her mum merely raised her eyebrows. Somehow they were both always able to say a whole lot without saying a word. "But I like this shirt," Milla told them. "It's covered in snout snot," her mom said. "And mud." "It's only a little mud. Me and Chip's adventures are messy." Milla grinned as she pulled off her soiled shirt. She knew it was pointless to argue with either of her parents. Sassing back never seemed to work out the way she wanted it to. She wriggled into a clean pair of jeans and the bright blue cactus t-shirt her mom had set out for her. Then she waved her arms in the air. "Ta-da!" "Better?" "Much," her mom agreed, leaning in for a hug. Her dark curly hair tickled Milla's cheek. "Have a great first day. I might see you after my shift tonight if you're still awake. Yeah?" Milla squeezed her back, breathing in the familiar smell of her mom's lemony fresh hand lotion. Because her mom was a nurse and often worked long shifts with weird hours, Milla didn't always get to see her first thing in the morning or last thing at night. Her mom worked slightly more regular hours as a vet and usually handled most of the school pickup and drop-off duties on her way to and from the clinic. "Chop, chop," her mom said, jingling her keys and heading for the door. Milla slung her bag over her shoulder, then bent down to give Chocolate Chip a hug. He smelled much less lemony fresh, but was still lovable in his own way. The pig pressed his snout against Milla's stomach, rubbing a wet splotch right across the front of her clean shirt. She pulled away, laughing, as she raced out the front door. As she fled, she called back to her mom over her shoulder, "Too late to change again. Like you said, school adventures wait for no one." Woo! That was the first chapter of Daring Dreamers Club, Milla Takes Charge.